Now we're gonna look at how you complete the form report operation. Basically, report operation is where you define the parameters of your organization. So you state where the organization is operating from. So it summarizes your operations, and then later on the other forms break it down even more. But this one, it summarizes the business and how your business operates, the target market, and it's also used to generate your draft business plan. So report operation is one of the key forms that you will complete. As you log in, it's actually the first form as you start your business plan. So it's a form that you're going to complete first, and the second one is your market segment, which define the market that you are targeting, and the third one is your dates. So these four forms will allow the app to generate a business plan for you. But the first one, which is the not necessarily most important, but it's critical because you start with it. So it sets the basis of your business plan. So it's important, you need to apply your mind when you're completing this form to ensure that the information on this form is accurate, because if it's not accurate, it will affect the accuracy of your business plan. There are certain things that you might have to work a little bit harder to change, because the initial generation of your information will be inaccurate. So it's important that you need to make sure that you complete it. You take your time when you're completing it. It's a short form, but you take your time and make sure you understand all the fields that you are completing. And the system, because it's the one that you start with. So now you saw on the dashboard, data was already generated. So if I want to edit, you just click on edit. But going back, you can see operations you can't delete, you can't create. So it only gets created once. And the only thing, once it's created, then the only thing that you can do as a user is to edit. And like all other forms, below is our educational material. If you want to learn more about operations and how it works, you can watch the video or you can read the material, go through it, make sure you understand what is operations, and because it's a key information, it's a key form for your business. So make sure that you watch the videos that I have highlighted below for you to get sufficient information to understand what is operations and all the fields, how you're supposed to complete them and what do they mean. So now you click on edit, then you can see it's a super deal maker. It's our business, it's operating as super deal maker. Sometimes the name of the operation can be different from how the business operates. So it's the name of the operation and the operating name. You'll find that sometimes you find that institution like McDonald's, it's operating as McDonald's, but you find that the franchisee owns the franchise that you are going to, but you wouldn't know the actual name of that. You find that it's Maketa Pty Limited, but because it's owning the brand or it's running the franchise, then the operating as is McDonald's. So it will be, if it's Maketa Pty Ltd, you put the name of the operation there, and then if I'm operating as McDonald's, then you put the name of the brand there, how it's operating, and then when it start operating, you put the date there in terms of the date. But if it's old, sometimes the drop down, it takes a little bit longer for you to get to the year. If you selected that, let's say, then you can change it to, let's say it's 2019. Then it will change it there in terms of it will change it to 2019 instead of using the drop down. But you can use the drop down, but it takes long if your company is older. So you can select any date and you just type in whatever the year, the date. If you put it on a date, it gives you the date and month and then a year. You can just type over it, then it will update it accordingly. Then you have the sector that you're operating in. So it is the global sector. We use information from Stats SA to identify the sectors. And then you have the subsectors. So the sector is the bigger what do you call it, industry that you're operating within. So you find that maybe if you're doing training, like RMK, we're in services, and if I drop down the sector, you'll see like we're in finance, real estate, and business services. Then you will see it gives you a little bit more options on subsector, which were a business service, and then here it's other goods and services that we're providing. That's the industry. Then the segment that you're operating in is business service. But for your business, you need to find the closest. It might not be a perfect match, but find the closest sector, subsector, industry, and market segment. And where you're operating from, the continent is Africa. Now we've just limited it to Africa. And then the country as well as South Africa. We don't have data of other countries. So that's why we're limiting it to Africa and South Africa. And the province, this is where you're operating from, not where you servicing the market. This is where your head office or your main office is based. So you don't have to, you might be servicing the whole country, but here the business is based in Limpopo, in the Capricorn district. So even here, it's got all Capricorn and all that. Don't select that. You will select the names, because this is run from a database that includes, sometimes you can use all Capricorn and all that, but use the specific name, not the one with all in it. So we're in Capricorn. Here you specify the municipality, which is Polokwane, and then here the suburb, depending when Polokwane, or we can put whatever, Star Park. That's the name. And then you decide, okay, not decide, but depending on the type of organization that you're running, then you have the brand type, because it's very important. This is the white label. White label it's a company-owned brand. Let's say RMK is got a branded Kindle. Then we call it Super Deal Maker. Then it becomes a white brand. It's not known. It's a brand that is associated with the RMK, not a known brand. So it's a white brand. And then unbranded is when you don't have known brand. It's not like you don't have a brand as such, but your brand is not known in South Africa or regionally or within the area. You're just operating RMK Industries or Super Deal Maker. It's an unknown brand. It's unbranded because no one, okay, we hope some people know it, but it's not like it's popularly known. You can go outside and meet someone, ask him about Super Deal Maker. The person wouldn't know. So you are unbranded if that is the case. Then select unbranded. Then number of employees, you change there. You can select 4, 1, whatever, depending on the number of employees that are there. Remember, this is not the number of employees that you're gonna employ or the number of employees that you hope to employ. These are the current number of employees. And then you state the operation. How big is the operation in terms of scale? A micro operation is where generating turnover below $1 million. Between 1 million and 10 million, it's a small operation. And between 10 million and 50 is a medium size. And then above 50 million, it's a large operation. So that's how it's defined there. You'll select whichever suits your best suits your operation. And then stage of operation is basically, are you a startup or existing business? Existing business meaning you generate revenue. Your business might be 100 years old, but if it's not generating turnover, you are a startup. Doesn't matter when you register the business, but you should be having financial statement. It must be operating. It must have operations that are happening within the business. Otherwise, you're a startup. Then, what type of operations? Here, you're looking at, are you a manufacturing factory? This is just the setup. In terms of RMK, are we e-commerce? An establishment is like your hotels or your hospital. So for RMK, Super Deal Maker, we are basically an office. So we are operating from an office. That's an establishment. So, but if you are manufacturing or operating plant or distribution center, choose the closest setup to your business. And then here, you might be servicing few market segments, but identify which market segment are you. This is for the market segment that gives you the highest turnover. So we must select the market segment that gives you the highest turnover. RMK is servicing, or Super Dealmaker is servicing individual as a direct customers. Sometimes you sell to retailers and all that. So you decide there. And then here we're just highlighting if building construction is part of your funding or if you need funding for it. Because remember, building operation, it becomes a very, very involved process, and the approvals, you need business plans in place, building plans being approved and the necessary zoning and all that in place if you require building as part of your funding. Then once we have that, then we confirm. We click there on confirm, like all forms. Please make sure that once you go through the data, all the forms, you need to click confirm, because this contributes towards completeness of your business plan or from the app perspective. Then you click confirm, then the data is confirmed, and then this will update your relevant sections in your business plan. Then once it's done, then you click back. Then when you go back home, then the data is supposed to be confirmed and blue. Okay, it's confirmed and blue. That's how you complete your report operation form. Thank you.